so I have the privilege and the honor to welcome up our administrative pastor, Pastor Billy Reds. Pastor Billy, come on up. So Pastor Billy is going to share with us a very powerful message that I know will change your life. So open up your ears. Shh. Open up your hearts, because God is going to speak to you tonight. Pastor Billy.
That freaked them out. There's already a chair knocked over. It's going to be a good party tonight, right? All right, so Pastor David asked me to come and speak to you tonight about the party. The party. I'm not talking about just a party. I'm talking about the party. The party of the century, the party of the millennium, the greatest party of all time. How many of you guys have ever been to a good party? Parties are awesome, man. A few of you guys. All right, parties are awesome. Man, thinking back, I've been to some leadership can't just leave the chair sitting there. I mean, never would have thought it would be you that would be organizing things and putting things back in order. But Colton, I'm glad things are moving along.
Different era.
How many of you guys have been to a good party? Like a really good party? Like the most awesome party you've ever been to in your entire life? Okay, I've been to some good ones too, man. I'm telling you, parties are awesome. Parties with lots of people are lots of fun, aren't they? Parties where you forget about the time, you forget about what's going on in your life because everything is just so cool. The atmosphere is amazing, and you forget about all the stuff, and you just want to be at the party, right? Have you guys been to a party like that?
Yeah.
I've definitely been to some parties like that. Parties are awesome. You know where I met my wife? I met my wife at a party. That's right. At a youth group party. Isn't that crazy? I met her at a youth group party. We went to this youth group. Like when I was in high school, I went to this youth group. The same one that you're sitting in right now. This youth group. I went to this youth group in high school, and so did my wife. And we met each other right here in this youth group. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Guess what? Your future spouse could be sitting in this room right now. If you're looking for somebody to marry, just look around. They might be sitting right here, right now. See, we went to this party together. She was the best looking girl at this party, by the way. We went to this party, and she was the best looking girl there, for sure. She didn't even know I existed because I was such a geek, but I could still like envision her sitting there on Dave and Mary Gardner's couch. And like DC Talk was blaring over the speakers, and everybody's drinking Mountain Dew and eating Doritos, and because this was way back a long time ago. Everybody was playing this game called Icky Icky Boo. Have you guys played this game?
No.
Icky Icky Boo. Okay, Pastor David's going to have to teach you the game of Icky Icky Boo. I'm going to have to teach him first, but yeah, he's going to have to. Pastor Colton's going to have to show you how to play this. Pastor David would never play this game. So after this party, I started putting the moves on my wife. My future wife. She wasn't my wife yet, right? I started calling her like every day. Actually, I wasn't calling her. This was back when phone calls, long distance phone calls, cost a lot of money, and she lived in California. And so I didn't call her every day, but this is way before Snapchat, way before cell phones. We had AOL Instant Messenger. And we did this over a dial-up modem on our desktops. Like, this is the only way you could communicate over long distances for free. Free, right? And so we would sit and talk on our desktop computers, long distance, over these dial-up modems on AOL Chat Messenger all day long. And that's how we communicated. And so we started going on dates, though. She moved up here. We started going on dates, and I was crazy in love with her from day one. She thought I was all right. And so, but before long, we had this other kind of party.
What?
We had this other kind of party. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
That's not a party.
That's a party. I'm telling you, listen to what happened. We got married, and you know what?
What?
The ceremony part was so lame. Like wedding ceremonies are the dumbest thing in the face of the planet, I swear. They're so boring. And you have to stand up there and you say your vows and it's all serious and stuff. Dumbest part of the whole wedding. You know what the funnest part of the whole wedding is?
What?
The party afterwards. Everybody everybody gets together and everybody's dancing, everybody's singing, everybody's getting crazy. You eat meat after you eat the cake, but you eat meat. So, and this, honestly, you guys, that party after my wedding is the best party I've ever been to this far in my life. I'm telling you, we had a really good party. Why? Because everybody we knew was there. Everybody. All of our weird friends from school mingled with, like, our friends, our youth group friends, and our awkward church friends danced with our, like, school friends, and everybody was cool with each other, right? The coolest people we knew were cool with the lamest people we knew, right? And everybody was dancing and eating and celebrating and having fun together. And we'd have this money dance. You guys know what a money dance is? Have you ever been to a wedding that has this? So like the new husband and wife, they get together and no, that's not how it works. They're not dancing together. So like the groom stands over here and like girls come and they pin money on you in order to dance with you. And then the wife over here, like, she stands over here and guys come and pin money on her to dance with her. And my wife made way more money than I did. Because she's way hotter than I am, obviously. So we did this money dance. My dad was doing the YMCA. My crazy aunt was like leading a conga line. My new wife like shoved cake in my face, right? We had a cake fight right in the middle of this party. It was awesome. People got crazy. It was a good party. It was a really good party. It was a great party. You want to hear something crazy? I got an invitation to an even better party. An even better party. The party to end all parties. The party of the century. The party of the millennia. The party. The craziest, wildest, most insane party of all time. I got an invitation to it, and so do you. You got an invitation too. Because, oh no, go back. Oh yeah, okay, that's fine too. Everybody is invited to the party. Turn to your neighbor, tell them everybody is invited to the party. Now turn to your second choice, the other neighbor, and tell them everybody is invited to the party. Everybody's invited to the party. Have you guys heard about this thing called the Kingdom of Heaven? You guys heard this thing, the Kingdom of Heaven? So it's kind of a weird concept. Jesus talked about it all the time. You guys listening? Kingdom of Heaven. Jesus talked about this all the time. And it's kind of this big concept. Sometimes he called it the Kingdom of God. Sometimes it was the Kingdom of Heaven. And it's this big concept, and it's hard to describe in like just one sentence or two sentences. The Kingdom of Heaven. So Jesus would say things like, the Kingdom of Heaven is like a farmer planting seed in his field. Or he'd say, the Kingdom of Heaven is like a mustard seed. Or the Kingdom of Heaven is like yeast that you put in dough to make it into bread and to make it rise. Or he'd say, the Kingdom of Heaven is like buried treasure. Or the Kingdom of Heaven is like a net that catches a lot of fish. The Kingdom of Heaven is like a party. And he said this one a bunch of times. The Kingdom of Heaven is like a party. He said the Kingdom of Heaven is like a party that God invites everyone to. I'm sure some people make excuses, some people won't show up to this party, but everybody's invited to the party. Turn to your neighbor and tell them, everybody's invited to the party. Tell the other one again, everybody's invited to the party. Make sure they know.
Everybody's invited to the party.
Hey guys, is everybody invited to the party? Is everybody invited to the party? Okay, everybody's invited to the party. Alright, listen up. Have you guys ever thought about what comes next? Like after all of this, like after this life passes, when you die, have you thought about this? What happens? You guys thought about what happens after you die? Is it just nothing? Is there like, something on the other side? Is it like you just keep living but you're in a different dimension or something? You get like reborn into the body of a Cylon or something? What happens after you die? So if you're a Christian, we'll talk about it later in small groups, okay? We'll talk about it later, I promise. Save it for small groups. You'll get a chance to share it. You will. So if you're a Christian, we believe that what happens after you die is heaven, right? Or hell if you're not a Christian, but if you're a Christian, like heaven, or the Kingdom of Heaven. like what Jesus was talking about. All those things Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is like, the kingdom of heaven is like, the kingdom of heaven is like. And part of that is heaven. And so because people have been asking this question from the beginning of time, what happens when I die? People have been asking this for forever because it's really hard to answer. Because in order to answer it, you have to what? Die. So nobody, like everybody's been trying to answer this for forever. And so the Bible actually gives us some really good ideas about what it's going to be like. And most of it's pretty indescribable and uses kind of strange language. And maybe it's a little bit complicated. But Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like a party. When most people think about heaven, they think it's super boring, right? When you imagine heaven, like think about this. Everybody close your eyes with me. Everybody close your eyes. You got your eyes closed? You think about heaven. Is it boring? So most people right there, they envision like sitting all day around on a cloud, like playing a harp or something weird like that, right? And which is not in the Bible at all. Okay, you can open your eyes. So that's not at all what heaven is going to be like. I think it's going to be like the greatest party of all time. Like a party. Like not just a lame party, not a church party, a party. The huge celebration. And I don't know for sure, but my guess is that Jesus knows how to throw a good party. Have you guys ever thought about this? Jesus knows how to throw a good party. Like when he was on earth, he went to a lot of parties. Did you know that? Jesus partied all the time. Have you thought about Jesus as being a partier? He was like a party animal, I'm telling you. He went to parties all the time. Think about how many times in the Bible you read about Jesus going to somebody's house and there's a bunch of people there and they're eating and they're drinking. Guess what that is? It's a party. Jesus was at parties almost every night. His first miracle, what did he do? Turn water into wine at a wedding party. He was at a wedding party. He turned water into wine. Jesus went to so many parties that the Pharisees actually said, this dude is a drunk. They accused him of being a drunk because he went to so many parties. Now, Jesus was never drunk, I promise. The scripture tells us he was never drunk. But he knew how to party, and he went to so many parties they accused him of that. He knew how to celebrate, and people criticized him for it. So, he tells us that the kingdom of heaven is like a party, and everyone's invited to it. Turn to your neighbor and say, everyone is invited to the party. Everyone's invited to the party. So you guys, everybody's invited to the party. Imagine this, you guys. Okay, imagine this. Story time. Imagine the coolest kid in your school invites you to a party. Coolest kid in your school invites you to a party, right? Some of you are like, that's me. All right, you guys listening? Quiet down, I'm telling the story. So imagine the coolest kid in your school invites you to a party, right? The coolest kid in your school. And this is the kid that you look up to. Maybe the coolest, nicest person in the school even. I don't know if that's coolest and the nicest person or the same person in your school, but we'll make them up, okay? This will be a pretend exercise, right? This is in our imagination. Let's give, what should this person's name be? Gary. Okay, Gary. Gary is the coolest person in your school, okay? Gary's the coolest person in your school. You really look up to Gary and he gives you an invitation to this party. And if you got an invitation to this party, you're gonna go to this party, right? You would die if your parents didn't let you go to this party that Gary's throwing. Because Gary's the coolest kid in the school and you know that all the coolest people are gonna be there and you know this is gonna be a good party. Nothing's going to get in your way of going to this party with Gary, right? Because Gary's the coolest kid in the school. And the day before the party, let's say this, the day before the party, you're out at the store, you're at Baskin Robbins or something, and you run into this other person, and you start talking to this other person from your school, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to Gary's party too. They got invited to Gary's party too. How are you going to treat that person? You're going to be you're going to have an instant connection with them, right? You're going to be like, this person must be cool. They're invited to Gary's party. Only the coolest people are getting invited to Gary's party, right? Gary's the coolest person in the school. So obviously, if they're invited to Gary's party too, they must be awesome. And so you treat them a little different, right? Because if they're invited to Gary's party, they must be cool. doesn't it change your attitude toward them a little bit to know they're invited to the same? You're going to end up at the same party that they're going to end up at. You guys, what if we started looking at everyone around us as if we were all invited to the same party? Look at the person on your left. That person's invited to the same party you are. Look at the person on your right. That person's invited to the same party you are. See, Jesus invited you to the party. And if you're a Christian, that means that you're in. Like you're going to this party. You're going. But guess what? The person next to you was invited too. And your friends at school, even the ones who don't go to church, they're invited to the party too. Your friends that don't go to church, did you hear me on that? Your friends that don't go to church, they're invited to the party too. Even the ones that get in trouble all the time at school. Who's a troublemaker? Nobody wants to admit it. Only the leaders want to admit it. Okay, the troublemakers, they're invited to the party too. Even the ones with loud mouths, even the super quiet ones that sit by themselves all day at school, they're invited to the party too. You know who's invited to the party? Listen up. You know who's invited to the party? People who like androids. Who likes androids? Let's hear it. Give me a scream if you like androids. Okay, you know who else is invited to the party? People who like iPhones. Okay. You know who else is invited to the party? People who like the Oregon Ducks. You know who else? People who like the Beavers. You know who else? People who like Lady Gaga. You know who else? People who like Justin Bieber. You know who else is invited to the party? People who are over 20 years old. You know who else? People who are under 20 years old. You know who else? People who voted for Trump. People who didn't vote for Trump. Oh, you hit it. People who want more gun control. People who want less gun control. People who've never been in trouble in their entire life. People who've been expelled from multiple schools. They're invited to the party too. They're all invited. So what would happen if you start looking and treating the people around you as if they're invited to the same party that you're invited to? They're invited to the same party too. Now here's the cool thing about the party that we're going to. We get to invite everyone. Hey, what time we got? How much time do I have? When? 7:40. Oh, okay, got like 6 minutes. Okay. All right, just making sure. All right, so here's the cool thing about this party. We get to invite everybody else. See, you got invited. If you're a Christian, you got invited to the party, and when you became a Christian, you accepted the invitation. You're saying, I'm going to go to that party. That's the coolest party. That's the best party in the entire world. Like, I'm going to go to that party. And then Jesus said, okay, now you invite everybody else too. You invite all your friends. You invite everybody you know to come to this party. And so Jesus is taking care of the lights. He's taking care of the music. He's taking care of the food. And he's like, you invite everybody else. You take care of the invitations. So let's think about this. Imagine, where's Johnny at? I saw him earlier. Where's Johnny? Johnny's right there. Okay. All right. Come on up here, Johnny. Okay. Give Johnny a big hand. So let's imagine that Johnny got invited to this party, right? This is Gary's party. Johnny got invited to Gary's party, right? Gary's the coolest kid in the school. He knows Johnny's cool, so he invited Johnny too. But Johnny's the only one Gary invited. So Johnny shows up to this party. There's all this lights, music, food. Is this going to be a cool party or not a cool party?
No.
It's not very cool. There's only 2 people here, right? I mean, it'd be all right, but Johnny needs to invite some people, right? Because Gary's like, I'm taking care of the lights, I'm taking care of the music, taking care of the food. But Johnny, you got to invite everybody else. So Johnny, he's a little shy, but he's going to break out of this. He's going to go invite 2 people. Go invite 2 people. Bring them back to the party. All right, so Johnny, come back on. All right. Now the party is getting somewhere, right? I mean, we're not quite there yet. I mean, this is doing all right, right? So Johnny teaches these guys, when they get to the party, he's like, So this party is still not quite there yet. We need to invite people. Everybody is invited to the party. Turn to your neighbor and say, everybody's invited to the party. All right, so here's what happens when these guys understand that everybody's invited to the party. They go invite 2 friends. They all go invite 2 friends, and they bring them back to the party. Quickly, come on up if you get me. All right. So here we go. This party's getting somewhere, right? Turn to your neighbor and say, everybody's invited to the party. All right. Now all you guys, go get 2 friends. Bring them on up here. 2 friends. Go invite 2 friends to your party, man. Oh, man. Oh. Come on up. Hurry up. Everybody's invited. Everybody's invited. Okay, so look out at the people who aren't invited yet. Are they cool or lame? It doesn't matter. They haven't been invited yet. All right, hang on. So listen up. As you're looking out over here, all these people, they haven't been invited to the party yet, have they? So they're missing out. Go get them. Invite them to the party. 2 people. Everybody grab 2 people.
All right, I'm coming.
Don't come back without 2 people. Don't come back without 2 people. Don't come back without 2 people. Don't come back without 2. Get them. Bring them on up here. Bring them on up here. Even the ones that think that they're busy. Even the ones that think that they're too cool and sitting in the sound booth. Bring those people back to this party. They're invited.
The camera guy, I was over.
Go get him. Come on up. You're invited too, Dawson. You don't get out of it, man. Come on up. Come on up, Debbie. You're invited to this party.
Yes, Debbie, come on.
All right. Guess what? Everybody's here. Now the party can start. Do it. All right, everybody go sit down. Party now. All right, everybody quiet down for just a minute. I gotta finish this up real quick, otherwise you're gonna miss out on cake and all the other cool things you want to do tonight. Okay, so listen up. I went to Henley when I went to high school. I didn't grow up in church. I don't care if you like it or not. You're invited to the party, okay? So I went to Henley, and I didn't grow up in church, and nobody invited me. Nobody invited me for a long time, right? But I had these friends, and these friends, they went to youth group here, this same youth group that you go to. And when I was a sophomore in high school, they started inviting me, like every single week, inviting me over and over and over and over again. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go. Like, I don't care about God, I don't care about church, I don't want anything to do with this stuff, right? I don't care about this. But they kept inviting me, and these were good friends of mine, but they kept inviting me over and over and over again, till finally I'm like, fine, whatever, I'm just gonna go. One week I'll go, and then I'll see what this is all about, and guess what? I came to this party, the youth group party, and I found Jesus. I found Jesus, and like, I mean, I'm not telling you like I turned from like, you know, lame to awesome like overnight. Like it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like I turned from like a sinner, like somebody who didn't know anything about God, into like a perfect angel overnight. That didn't happen, right? But what I'm telling you is I started my relationship with Jesus that night, and I kept coming, and I kept coming, and I kept coming. And so I want to tell you guys, there was a few of you that were sitting out in the seats like towards the end. How did that feel? Like everybody else was up here at the party, having a good time. Some of you guys were sitting down there. Doesn't feel very good, does it? But all it took was an invitation. All it took was somebody asking, somebody coming down and going, come to the party with me. Come to the party with me. And I'm telling you guys, there are some of your friends that need to be at the party. They're not at the party yet, right? They haven't even been invited to the party. Maybe you've invited them. I'm not saying none of you have invited people. Maybe you've invited them, but you need to keep inviting them. So everybody close your eyes for just a moment. So think about this. Think about the seat on your left-hand side. I mean, there might be somebody there. I'm just saying think about it. And imagine it's empty. Imagine there's nobody sitting there. Even if there's somebody sitting there, just imagine, close your eyes, imagine that seat's empty on your left. Can you see it in your mind? There's an empty seat there on your left. And there's a friend from your school who should be sitting in that seat. There's somebody that you need to be inviting to the party that should be sitting in that seat. Who is it? Who is it? I hear people talking. That's good. That's good. You know who should be sitting in that seat. Who should be sitting in that seat? All right. So this week, here's my challenge to you this week. Invite that person. Invite that person to the party. All right? That's my challenge this week. Okay, you guys are awesome. Pastor David, come on up here. Thank you guys.